The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply. So this is the Flogcast for the grand final. Woo! The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by Mr. Moral Victory from St Kilda Cookson.
Hello.
Employee of AFL Photos and master of time-lapse videos, Dan.
Howdy.
Cousin of Brownlow fourth place getter Rory Sloane from Hawthorn, we have Penal.
Howdy, Kimo Sabi.
And joining us for his first appearance, we have a Colas flogging grand final week. A man with a name that, well, we'll hope we get it right, Chaisa.
Howdy. Yes, you got it right.
Alright, so, we're nil on the Bathwater flogs. I think before we go to Gula Tears, we need to address this. We can't get any, there is no Bathwater.
It's sheepish.
This was almost like the great Hawthorn disappearing act of a few years ago, when prior to grand final week, none of them were around. But yeah, some of them are a bit superstitious and don't want to be on. Some of them just can't make it on. Some of them are surprisingly old and won't record with us this late. So yeah, I'm guessing that'll make Morgs happy when she joins us. But anyone got anything to say on that?
You're letting the team down, man. If St Kilda's in the final, I'll be fucking here. If Richmond won a final, Farty would be here.
If Richmond won a final, fucking hell.
The only fucking... Maybe their excuse is that they're still stuck in Sydney because Morgs has just been cancelling flights out of spite.
They'd be indoors at least, because none of the pubs are open right now. But yeah, we're without Bathwater, it seems.
And without Teach, who is probably nursing the world's largest hangover.
He is in a bad way today.
I had a listen of last night, and he was off it. He was really slurry with his words, and that's not a bad thing.
He was basically Robbo doing 360 last night.
Well, Robbo any night.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, Robbo every night is like that, and Teach turned up and did things that way, and, you know, Penal was drunk, but you wouldn't have known it.
Well, I think the main thing with me is my lack of pants, but I've resolved that issue tonight, so we're all good.
I think most people's mental picture of you recording this is without pants anyway, so...
Well, good thing I've never accidentally turned the camera on.
But, yeah, let's jump into the goo or tears. Who wants to go first?
Alright, yeah, I've got goo. Great win of the weekend, into the final, and this year I actually got tickets to the grand final, unlike 2014, so I think it's a success.
So do you have to ballot for that?
Yeah, had to... We were heaps worried for ages because it took about 2 days for tickets to get the act together. And then and obviously in 2014 I said we missed out on the ballot, and 2012 we were moving, so we didn't get to go.
Oh, that's a shame. You missed your team win a grand final, and now you get to see them lose one.
Well, we'll see about that. Hopefully this time's more successful than.
So you had to fight off all the bandwagoners then, the ones that.
But yeah, that just shows how many fucking bandwagoners signed on after they got Buddy, because they couldn't even fill their allocation in 2012, and yet people missed out in 2014. I wonder what changed.
And now Chaisa's back able to get tickets again.
Yeah, I saw the people who could get tickets to the grand final. It's 56 pages of people were successful, and 2/3 of a page of people who weren't.
Wait, 56% of people were successful, did you
say? No, 56 pages of people were successful, whereas for the unsuccessful people, there's only 2/3 of a page.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be more like 99% or something.
They all jumped off after the Giants won the qualifying final. It's worked out for you.
Maybe.
But yeah. Anyone else goo or tears? What we got?
I've got sour goo.
Sour goo. That's a new one.
As we know, when we goo, it's nice, it's fresh, it's lovely, especially when it's for a player like Jeremy Cameron.
Ooh.
But goo ages, and unfortunately, this one aged pretty bad. The 2016 Cameron goo vintage has gone sour, and it needs to be
Not
destroyed.
even Penal would drink that goo right now.
Was probably in worse prize performance than Cochin.
Big call, but he was pretty fucking shitful considering. He got outplayed by Tom Boyd. Think about that for a second.
He had a perfect game, then it just gone sour.
That was a pretty piss poor performance. Who wants to go next?
Yes, this is no Bathwater flogs. I'll have some Bathwater goo just because it is a great story, seeing what they've achieved this year, and I'm along with about 95% of the football watching population. I've become a Bulldogs bandwagoner ever since the Hawks got knocked out, and ever since cousin Rory got knocked out. So very happy that they beat GWS, because honestly, fuck GWS. I know some people on here like them, but I just can't get excited about that franchise, and I probably wouldn't have watched if it was GWS Sydney, and now I get to fucking watch the grand final. So hooray, thank you, Dogs.
I've got goo for the Dogs because it's a great story, and it's following on from Leicester City earlier this year, Cleveland. You know, this year's got a nice feel about it. There's some good stories this year, but I also at the same time have tears for every bitter cunt who just, and we'll probably come to a few of them at Flog of the Week time, who just, if you're not a Sydney supporter and you're not on the Dogs, there's something fucking wrong with you. Hi, Morgs. Seriously.
We already knew there was something wrong there.
Yeah, but seriously, like, we got the bitterness from Plugger. We've got the bitterness from a couple of that Fremantle flog. We got a few others. If you can't understand the story here, because, and in fairness to Sydney, they had their story in 2005, you know, if you were, in that case, just, no one knew what Cola was then anyway, but if you weren't sort of feeling a little bit good about the Swans having a chance, then you probably don't have much of a soul. And it's the same thing here. If you can't really enjoy the fact that the Dogs are a chance of doing this, you're a shit bloke. You're not a Luke Hodge. You're not a Rory Sloane. You're not a good bloke. Yeah, or you're a Sydney supporter. That's how I feel. So I got tears for that, but a lot of goo for the Doggies.
Very good.
Dan, I think you're the only one left.
I know we don't really like talking about VFL on podcasts, but I have goo for Ling Jong and his trolling of the Casey Scorpions in their grand final win. Now, I labelled this guy a sook when he did his shoulder because he was a baby 2 weeks ago, or was it 3 weeks ago? But he redeemed himself, and he taped his non-injured shoulder in the VFL grand final, and Lyndon Dunn, the spastic that he is, felt for it and targeted the wrong shoulder. And John went on to be the what's the best on ground in the VFL called? He was the best player on the ground, and
Goss.
He might just have won himself a spot in the grand final on the weekend. However, that trick's not going to work if he does play.
Well, maybe Kurt Tippett would fall for it.
Oh, he's dumb enough too, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's probably a handful of players on the Swans who might, but yeah, it's like knowing which foot someone kicks with, isn't it?
Yeah, but people get that wrong all the time. And not just first-year players, like people who have been around, 3, 4, 5 years, they get that wrong.
Not every footballer's a fucking genius. I think that's sort of the point, isn't it?
Not everyone's a Will Minson.
Will Minson probably does get it wrong. So yeah, we'll go to the reviews. We'll begin with the closer of the two games, because I think that'll occupy most of the discussion. There's always one good prelim, isn't there?
Yeah. Last year, not so much, but like most years, yeah, there's like one good prelim, one not so good one.
And this one was an absolute cracker. This befitted a prelim contest. These were two teams who probably deserved to be there, whereas I think we'll find in the other prelim, one team clearly didn't. But this was an epic game, and what's not to love about the way this game of football was played? Penal doesn't like the Giants, but they play a great brand of football, and the Dogs just demolished them with pressure. Like, they're playing at full speed at the moment.
I've lost count how many times I've said on here that I've seen the best game of the year, because that game was the best game of the year. It was huge, and to win that game, like, I thought GWS were going to steamroll into the grand final.
Yeah, same. And
I wanted the Dogs to win, and I thought they were a chance. But if I was, if you're tipping that game, you're tipping the Giants.
Yep.
Or you're tipping right, like me last week.
Fucking yeah, but we troll with our tips here. Come on, did you really think they were going to beat them?
Of course. I mean, they beat us. You have to be good to beat us.
Oh, fuck.
oh,
That was... It's, you know...
When was the last time you beat the Giants?
It's like fucking 2014 by like 3 points when they were still shit.
I rest my case. But yeah, it was a fantastic game. And I don't think I've seen a team put on as many smothers as I've seen the Dogs do throughout this final series. It's just something, it's one of those underrated things that I don't even know if they keep a stat on how many smothers you put on, but certainly the Hawthorn game they did it a lot. And it carried through on Saturday, and that's a good sign of pressure and how much you want it, and the 50-50 balls, that sort of shit's just, it was free flowing, but it was contested, it was everything you want a game of football to be.
It did have the second forwards really standing up. I mean, Stringer and Cameron were non-existent, but Patton stood up big time as well.
Clay Smith went berserk.
Clay Smith was brilliant.
Clay Smith, I
it's
mean...
probably best on ground.
He got 10 votes in the coaches, so the Ayers medal. It's just, where did that come from? 3 knee recos. He's sort of flown under the radar, not really being a big story in the media, but just come out and played a belter.
And I think the best thing he didn't even get a stat for, and it was in the lead up to that Caleb Daniel goal, when it's him against Ryan Griffin, and the ball, it's a 50-50 ball, and he had to neutralise the contest, and he just crashes into Griffin, puts him off the ball. He didn't win it, but the Bulldogs player coming through does. Daniel kicks the goal. And it's just that sort of, those 1%ers, those things are huge.
We'll say also Dale Morris played well for the Dogs. Haynes, the GWS, played well. Shaw had a shocker of a game.
Shaw was terrible for one of the guys who's been there before.
God, and fucking, you just wanted to punch him sitting at home.
Oh, he was going full sook. Mumford is another one who's been there who rate Mumford a lot, but he barely beat Tom Boyd, really.
Well, I think people have started to wake up to the fact that Mumford isn't really that good, and he gets rated because he belts blokes every now and then.
Really?
No, he's contested. You're not serious.
He's well below Goldstein, Jacobs, and Gawn, and that level of ruckman.
Oh.
Like he's on Jacob's level at least.
He's
the Crows board hate Jacobs, don't they?
He's a Ben McAvoy.
Oh,
Like,
fucking.
That's reaching.
He's not even Jonathan Segler level. Like he's Ben McAvoy level.
He's probably the 4th best ruckman in the league.
Yeah, he's a gun. He just had a shit game when the worst time to have one. Like, seriously, when Ruffhead went down, he should have taken that game by the throat when Ruffhead went down, because Ruffhead's been good, and he's held his own, which is all they've asked of him. But when he was up against Boyd, he should have just fucking smashed that game, and he didn't, and it cost them almost as much as he's Shaw being just stupid.
Scully actually played well, surprisingly. He was doing a shitload of fun.
Should have got a 50-metre penalty in the last 2 minutes.
God,
but
how many times have I heard that?
Except the AFL said he shouldn't have. So I know the AFL like to really stretch things on the Monday when they admit to their fuck-ups. And I think this is the thing I miss about Wayne Campbell at the AFL when he ran the umpires. He's the only head of the umpires, I think, in the last 15 years, who if they fucked up on the Monday, he would say they fucked up on the Monday. Now you need Jordan Bannister to do it. But like, literally, the AFL came out and said that shouldn't have been 50. Does anyone actually think that shouldn't have been 50?
Yes.
50.
Wait, okay. Take the hat off. I'm not upset to not see it paid, so take that away. But come on, how can you argue that Johannesson should have been there under the rules?
My argument is any free kick that is that technical never gets paid in a prelim last quarter dying stages.
I don't disagree. You don't want to see a game decided by that, but at the same time, it's a free kick.
If that was the first quarter of the prelim, it would have been 50.
Yeah, exactly. If it was the last few minutes of any other game, it would have been 50. If it was Hawthorn ball, it would have been 50. And I just think it's really stupid that the AFL, in some cases, you can't just ignore it, but at the same time, standing up and saying that that was the right call, nobody believes that. Nobody believes that.
It was there, but it shouldn't. But I think it's fair not paying like that sort of situation.
Game situation that shouldn't be paid, but
Yeah, so they made the right call.
Well, no, because you can't just say, "Oh, that shouldn't have been paid because it was the last 2 minutes of a prelim." Like that's not how.
But
you know what I mean?
The game is full of grey areas, though.
I don't
It's
even
not
know.
a grey area. He was right.
He was right there, yeah, and he
2
shouldn't have
meters
been.
away.
They
No.
pointed it out on on the couch. He should have veered off, and he didn't.
In your view, he was too close. But there are other things like parallax error, distortion, color blindness that all play a part here. So the umpire erred on the side of caution, and good on him. That's,
But you think there was a distortion field?
I think the umpire literally just thought, "Fuck it, no one's noticed. I'm going to let it go," and I'm okay with them doing that. But at the same time, the AFL can't just sit there and go, "That's exactly what he should have done." The AFL
But
should have tried to ignore it.
it's because no one appealed.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
But-
If Scully stopped and pointed, that would have been 50.
This is why Luke Hodge is the greatest player that ever was.
Oh,
Did you
come on.
see how he appealed for that touch behind?
You fucking cunt.
If that was Luke Hodge taking the kick, he would have put his hand up and 50 would have been paid. And
If it was that assistant coach I noticed on the GWS bench, Nick Maxwell, he sure as shit would have pointed.
I've got to say, if the Dogs complain about Nick Rewell's free kick, they will better shut the fuck up now, because they won't ever talk about that.
You should hit them back with that, but don't tell Plugger because we'll never hear the
That
end
was a
of it.
free kick to Rewell, not his fault. Brian Lakers is retard.
It was what, 7 or 8 years ago, Cookie. It's time to let it go. You weren't going to beat Geelong.
I've let it
Oh,
go.
sorry, they
It's
weren't
the
gonna beat-
Dogs
they weren't gonna beat.
Don't let it go.
Let
Um,
it go.
let
Let
it
it go.
Anything else out of that game?
You
The
go, Dan.
Giants still didn't play that well, and Dogs just got over the line. That's a bit concerning.
Just is good enough.
Do you reckon?
I mean,
do you
they're
reckon,
in
do you reckon the
grand final.
Giants didn't play that well? Like apart from Heath Shaw fucking up and Cameron
They-
being invisible.
They
they
scored
started
goals.
slow.
Yeah, they started
They
slow.
started really nervously, but then again, so did the Dogs against us, and didn't really.
Dogs didn't make the most of early opportunities either.
It didn't mean much. Like both sides were going at it hammer and tongs for pretty much the whole second half. It was just fierce.
It was fierce. I wouldn't say that anyone didn't play that well because if you look at it, the dog side of things, it's hard to pick a Bulldogs player who played full 4 quarters, or in Stringer's case, any quarter. But, you know, like Bontempelli didn't play well for a half. You know, Downhouse was in and out. Hunter started well, faded. Libba came good in the last half when it got really contested. You know, apart from Boyd, and not Tom Boyd, Matthew Boyd, and Johannesson, it weren't too many Dogs players who probably played 4 quarters.
Clay Smith played the game
Clay
out,
Smith.
even though
Played
he
the
only
game.
He
scored
only
goals
kicked-
in the first half.
Yeah.
But he still was
He
a
had an
presence.
impact the whole game,
Yeah.
and it's like by the sheer fact that he's kicked 4 goals, like everyone gets drawn to him. And,
Tory Dixon, 4
makes
goals,
more
probably
space
1 in
for
each quarter, I reckon, as
I
well.
have a question. Who told Libba that his mustache and hairstyle is a good idea? I mean,
What's
The
worse
thing
than
is-
Dane
Well,
Rampage?
he's a doggies player. He's probably living in fucking Kensington or Yarraville or somewhere. It's all the rage.
seriously, if you're going to win the premiership, you have the cup in your hand, and you see that, and you be like, oh,
Well,
fuck.
the mustache is probably, like, you know, all the drug barons had mustaches. So that's probably where the mustache comes from. If you've got a mustache, we've made the jokes before. Yeah, you've got the pedo-mo, like the Richmond board challenger, or you're probably a drug dealer. So I think we know.
Matthew Stokes.
Yeah, Matthew Stokes. So I think we know which one, or Escobar. So we probably know which one Libba is, based on history. So that's probably where that comes from. The hairstyle, who fucking knows, really. Anything else on that particular game?
Yeah.
I just can't get my head around the idea that Zane Cordy might be a premiership player this time this week.
He was nearly the villain too when they were coming. That drop chest mark of his early in the last quarter that was absolutely terrible. Like he got hit lace out on the chest and he dropped it. And I thought that was the moment because I made the thread for a bit of laughs. Ghosts of prelims past, thinking it was going to be a Tom Boyd shitfest or something that was going to cost the Dogs that prelim because they were in it, but they hadn't made the most of it. And I thought when Zane Cordy dropped that mark, I thought, oh, it's going to be Zane Cordy. But he kicked a goal after that.
He kicked 2 for the game, but still, he's just this lanky,
Oh, yeah.
uncoordinated.
But he's had a better career than his brother.
Well, you've carried some shit trucks to premierships too, though, Penal. Like, let's not forget Ryan Schoenmakers.
Oh, that
Bradley
Fitzpatrick guy could have been a premiership player.
Fitzpatrick could have been premiership player. Who else are Hawthorn responsible for giving premiership medals to? Brad Hill, you gave him 3.
We gave Brad Hill 3. And
Oh, God.
That's...
Ben McAvoy has 2.
Oh, McAvoy's alright. He's Mumford standard, apparently.
I just don't rate Mumford. I'm sorry.
You just don't rate Ruckman because you set the bar pretty low with your buddy Zegler.
I look at Gorn and Goldstein play and I think, wow, those guys are good. I just don't have the same reaction when I watch Mumford play. So Cordy's played, 6 games? He might be like the next...
Aaron Keating.
Not quite Aaron Keating, but Brent Radoof. There's another shit truck we've carried to a premiership.
Richard Hadley. And not the Kiwi fast bowler plugger, but the one who played at Brisbane. There's a few of them out there, the finals specialists.
Mitch Morton.
Mitch Morton. Fucking Mitch Morton. Yeah, and he actually did something as well. There's some of them out there that have just turned up in the late in the season, and that could be Zane
What a
Gordon.
shame that Sam Menegola won't be among them.
We'll segue this into the Sydney-Geelong game. Are there any players like that at Sydney who might Bradbury a flag? Naismith's probably the obvious one.
Is it racist to say Ali?
No, he
is.
He's played like 15 games.
I
He would have got Rising Star nod if he was eligible.
He is
He's
very
athletic.
Yeah, and he's athletic. He's too athletic to be put in this category. But yeah, are there any at Sydney? Like, I'm trying to think. Do Sydney have some?
Cunningham?
Didn't he play in the last one?
24.
Yeah.
He played in the 2014 grand final, but not in the 2012 game, I don't think.
Play is a very generous description of his efforts in the 2014 final.
Well, he didn't win the Leon.
I think 'cause no one knew what he was. I think he only had like 3 touches though.
Zach Jones, does he count? Or is he just youth?
He's young and got talent.
No, but if he does, isn't he just Bradburying his way in because of injuries to other better players?
Yeah, but he'll probably have a career beyond this. Like, we're talking guys who are kind of shit and don't amount to a whole lot beyond it. Yeah, Naismith's the obvious one, I think. He's the one who, they'll unearth another ruckman eventually that goes past him.
Maybe they'll give Alira a run in the ruck because he is pretty athletic.
Robert Walls likes this. But yeah, we'll discuss Sydney Geelong now, which, well, as I hinted at before, one prelim was good and 2 teams that deserved to be there, and then this one was quite the opposite. One team clearly didn't deserve to be there. They were carried by one man all year, and we basically saw that when it came to the crunch.
But can anyone name any Geelong players that turned up that weren't Dangerwood?
Well, the funny thing is, Bartel, who nearly got dropped, was probably their next best player.
He spilled like a massive mark.
Hawkins basically did fuck all. Like, Fat Boy did nothing. And the other Fat Boy, Motlop, didn't do.
Oh, he was woeful. He was terrible.
He's horrendous. He's just
on ground.
He's getting put on the trade table. Seriously. Chris Main is probably worth more at this stage.
No, yeah, if Fremantle offer you straight swap for Ballantyne, Geelong should do that deal.
I think that's a bit of a reach.
No, at least Ballantyne has
Motlop
a go.
is that fucking shit. Okay, we're talking about Motlop. Say what you want about Geelong. They have a good culture. And if they can't get Motlop to not be a fat, lazy prick, then most clubs aren't going to be able to do it. And certainly, if you put him at Fremantle with Rossline sink or swim, he's probably going to sink.
Yeah.
Because he's fat.
Apparently, I heard Rivers has gone to Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane's that's like the last place you would ever
That's
send.
where you can kind of hide him next to the
Christian
router.
shed.
Brisbane's like a dumping ground for players with character concerns, or minimal ability,
Very concerning.
So that does not surprise. So, what else do we have out of that game? Look, the Swans killed it as a contest pretty damn early.
I wish I stayed home to watch it because I actually went to this game.
Oh,
I went to this game too, and I spent enough of the game in the bar again, which usually only happens at Richmond games. So yeah, it was. I wish I'd stayed. Home as well.
It was crap. The game was over at quarter time. I mean, there was no way they were going to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, not against the Swans.
Yeah, because if you get a run on, they can just go full defence mode and you won't score.
Well, just not that, but once the Swans get up and about and the forward line starts kicking goals, they're pretty hard to stop. Like
Buddy.
when Buddy's rolling, and they can ski. That forward line can ski pretty
Didn't
well.
McGlynn kick a few goals?
Happily
Yeah,
kicked
but
4.
and Geelong are the reverse of that. Like, if their forward line's not kicking goals, it's never going to kick fucking goals.
Unless against Richmond.
Yeah, well, I think most of those goals came from the midfield and throwing Harry Taylor forward, which
Well, yeah,
happened
that's where
in
they
Yeah,
got
like,
about
they-
half their goals from.
they actually looked like the slimmest of chances late in the game when Harry Taylor went for it. It's like, why did you not do that at halftime?
I think he only got moved forward because he broke his hand.
So the best coaching move Chris Scott made all game happened because of injury. That's the thing. That's how bad they are, that their best forward is their centre-half back.
But the stats were just crazy on this game. Like, Geelong was at
30
so
more
many
inside
chances
32,
to win. They
actually.
had like 72 inside 50s and
And had
kicked 8
40.
goals for the game.
And, like, their midfield weren't exactly great. Like, they had some fuck-ups. They had some guys in
We-
midfield who were
We
playing
talked
well.
about how fucking Danger Shank turned up and he had like 40 touches, but like 35 of them went to the opposition.
It doesn't help when your forward line's basically non-existent. Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
well, they are stationary.
Yeah, and Henderson played, but, well, apparently he played, but he would have been worse than Jeremy Cameron. Like, that's how bad he was. It was just, once Menzel went out, you had to wonder whether they were going to do anything.
They didn't. Geelong sucked. Teach got drunk as a result.
They were shit, and, like, not to take anything away from the Swans, because they beat a team that they should have, the way they should have, and they're pretty clinical, but really, I think we just saw that Geelong didn't deserve to be there. Like, if they'd made the grand final, we would be running a list of players who were Bradburying their way there. Menegola, who was another one who was shit.
Who?
Number 35.
Number 35.
Well, I didn't notice him because it was like he wasn't there.
But nothing else on that game?
What a shit game.
Terrible game.
Hawthorn should have been in
Terrible.
this game. Thanks, Isaac Smith.
Well,
So with Sydney winning and the Bulldogs winning, they've both had to play 3 times during the final series to get to the grand final.
Yep.
This is solely because of that week off that they had.
the week off, yeah, the bye. And people saying you can't read much into the bye. Well, I think it's made certainly the Dogs fresher, and I think it's given everyone a chance to be fresher, which is limited. And people say one game in 27 days is a bad thing, and I do sort of agree with that. But I think what really does is, and whether that's an issue, but what I think it does is it minimises the advantage you get from the week off. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, not sure, but I don't like the bye. And I think...
But Hawthorn did it the hard way last year without the bye week in place, so...
Yeah, but you got to play... Yeah, it can be done, and Swans have done it before, I think. No.
both
05, I think.
Yeah, Swans and West Coast those years, I think both... Each team... No, West Coast won in Perth the second time?
No, they won the Perth the first time. We won Perth the second time.
I think each of those premiership teams came the long way through.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were actually talking about it, I don't think the Dogs would be in the grand final if the week off didn't exist.
No, I don't think they would be either.
Yeah, they wouldn't. I think we might because we got to play Geelong, but...
You have to defend the bye because you want the best players playing in September, and if that extra week off helps them get fit and fresh... I mean, imagine what a fucking tragedy it would have been. Like, you would have seen Easton Wood and all of those guys not run out there in the finals. Just because they were 1 week away.
But if it starts to become a thing, what happens if the two teams, it happens next year, the teams that win the qualifying finals lose the prelims? Does a pattern not emerge that, shit, the team's finishing top 4 and winning the first final?
It won't happen next year because... Hawthorn won't screw it up in the qualifying final next year.
Whatever. You'll be lucky to make the 8.
Yeah, no, that's...
Dude, we got Vickery.
How many players are you,
players are
you delisting?
Doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. We're going to get Vickery. That's the solution to all our problems.
Finishing top 4 and winning should grant you more an advantage than a side that finishes 7th. Like, the Dogs have played well, but you finished 7th.
And they've done it the hard way, but you reckon without the week off, they probably would have run out of steam this week, and they still might next week, but the week off automatically makes it a 4-game stretch. You just got to get through 4 weeks. Without the week off, it's all of a sudden a 12-game stretch. And I wouldn't be averse to a second bye that happens 6 weeks out from, well, not 6 weeks, maybe a month out from finals, but... or a split round or something like that happens closer to finals, like weighting it so that the finals, evenly spreading your buys 1/3 of the season with grand final week being the end.
Just make the split round the last round of the season and put the shit truck games on the second week.
But that still has the same problem.
It's not a problem. It's working as intended.
Is it?
I think so. I think the AFL would be happy with the fact that teams were a little more rested from the bye, and that it's provided a more exciting final series than usual.
More rested Bulldogs cost you a chance at a 4-peat.
And that's something we have to live with. Because we weren't good enough in that first game.
Jeez.
We didn't get the chocolates in that first game, and so we have to deal with the fact that we then had to play against a hungrier, younger side. It's our own fault.
I think this is something we're going to have to revisit this time next year when we see how it pans out, because the bye is certainly coming back. And just remember, Penal liked it, and I think Dan was against it.
Yeah.
No, I was against the idea that people were blaming North for the bye when it was mainly doing.
There's a whole other can of-
Oh, North's the reason why the Bulldogs are in the grand final.
Well,
That was
you
a
know the
funny
reason
thread,
why-
though.
It's a pretty funny angle to take because, there's only so many clubs you can play that angle with and get the
So if the
response.
Bulldogs salute, do we get a slice of the cup? Break off a piece.
It works because of, the same way that Mardo's thread about Dangerfield somehow got so many bites last night. That was ridiculous. But if there's nothing else on that game, I think we'll move on to, we'll briefly recap the Brownlow. Dangerfield won, obviously.
I'm shocked to
He
be
wouldn't
sitting here.
As we discussed, he probably wouldn't have done it at the Crows, or whether he would have done it at the Crows because he would have been surrounded by better players. And
I would have won a premiership medal though.
they would have won a premiership too. They'd be in the grand final this week instead of one of the two teams. I think that's safe to say. Anything else about that we didn't quite cover? Alex Lloyd did that song, and
Oh, God.
He thinks pies were amazing.
yeah, it looked like he'd eaten some of those retiring players. Has anyone checked on what happened to Spud Ferrito?
I found it a bit surprising that some key forwards got a fair few votes.
Andrew Gaff, hello.
No, I look at the betting for St Kilda. I'll just use my team. But Stephen was at like $1.05 to finish on top, but Rewald got more votes than Stephen. So maybe it's
Well,
changing
that just
a
says
bit.
that your best
Rewald
player
had a
is
good
still
year. I
old.
mean, that's not a huge
Well,
surprise.
No, that just proves that Rewalt sucks off the umpires like he did in that 09 prelim.
That cost the Doggies a shot at the flag, yeah?
Yeah. And Gary Ablett and Sam Mitchell are now all-time most votes tied at
I think-
220.
Gary Dempsey still got more, although he's got he had like
Yeah, no, they adjusted it for the 3-2-1 system,
Oh.
and they've come to that arrangement, and that other guy was on, I think, 218.5.
Ablett's still winning, though, with 2 Brownlows to Mitchell's 1. Or half, as we decided last night.
Oh yeah, I guess joint is not.
Yeah,
Didn't discuss it.
no one remembers who ties.
Umpires don't rate good ruckman. It's still obvious.
Yeah, Mumford doesn't poll well at all.
Gorn
Well,
did
that's
that.
shit.
It's like Goldstein.
Do alright?
Gorn should have gotten maximum votes against, was it Collingwood? And
Yep.
another...
Maximum Gorn.
Jack Watts got 3 votes in one game against Collingwood, I noticed.
Jack
God.
Watts got 3 votes in a game, and I think I made the comment, for once this won't be his only 3-vote game for the night, but I think it actually turned out to be that way.
3 votes for Jack Watts won't be counted.
Yeah, he usually gets a bog a year, but this year I thought, Jack Watts had a pretty good year. He'll probably get more than that, but I don't think he got any other best on grounds, which was surprising.
I noticed Aaron Hall came crashing out of the blocks with
Bog-
9 votes after 3 games.
Boganator.
He's only like the
Boganator, as
second
we
player to
predicted.
do that, apparently.
I think Pritis is the first, isn't
Oh, probably. What can't Pritis do?
he? He nearly went close again at halfway, and then I think Gaff started to steal his votes, but it was looking like Pritis could have gone again, Dan.
Disgusting. I would have broken my TV if that happened.
But Dan,
Dave
it's
would have
British.
broken his
Smashed
beard.
Wait.
it like an iPad. Well, he should have won it last
He
year. Yeah,
was
so
robbed.
nothing else on the Brownlow?
How much filler was in the Brownlow this year?
Well, they clearly thought, or perhaps knew after checking the votes, that it would still be a contest till late, or that they needed to get all the shit out of the way early before they basically handed the crown to Dangerfield at the end. Like, build up the tension, because they took forever to get through the first half of the season. The last 5 rounds was over in basically a minute per round almost, like no highlights even, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they ran out of fucking C-grade celebrities that they could get to do the highlights voiceovers.
Yeah, well, there were some shockers amongst those too, weren't there? I'm trying to think who was the worst one of those for them.
Mac Horton.
Mac Horton. They just got him there to enrage the Chinese Port supporters.
Damien Oliver on there.
It was definitely not Melly Muldrum.
Melly Muldrum?
Yeah, I just realised that.
Melissa Doyle, the
Oh,
that's hard to top.
That Ranger chick from Home and Away was on it.
No, that was that's the winner.
What was the name?
Yeah, there's
Irene.
the old woman from Home and Away following the Colas. Yeah, that was that.
That one smelled like a fake supporter.
I mean, seriously, who calls their kid Irene?
People in the 50s. Was it Eileen or... Yes, Eileen in the song.
Come on, Eileen.
Oh, Irene.
That was probably the worst one now that's been mentioned. But anything else from the Brownlow? Alex Lloyd sung for all those players getting laps. Did you take note of some of those names, Dan?
I noticed Brent Harvey's name wasn't mentioned.
No, because he's not retiring.
No.
Obviously, they know something
Dan,
most of us don't.
How do you feel about all the people going around in the motorcade at the grand final, like Walker, Aaron Ray?
Is he the worst concert game of all time?
No, Anthony Rock.
Well, after Anthony Walker.
Well, I think it's pretty clear on my thoughts regarding this. It's not right.
There were some fantastic names. Troy Chaplin.
Oh,
David
literally the only thing I
Who else?
remember him for is his aeroplane celebration.
Aeroplane. He also pissed off the Port Power by
the
writing an
text.
email saying they weren't a very professional club.
That would have been a better job if he didn't go to Richmond.
Yeah, I bet that got a lot of airtime after the 2014 final.
Nothing else on what happened?
A lot of fake tans on the girls, I noticed.
And Travis Spoke.
And Travis Spoke.
Fucking hell.
Also, Liam Pickens' missus was wearing the same suit as he.
Yeah, Lady Gaga.
And
but BRWB said we can't troll Liam Pickens' missus because she had mental illness once.
Oh, well, Will Minson's probably sledged her at some point.
yes.
I will say some of the female footballers, you can tell which ones wear the strap-on in their relationships.
So who is the consensus worst dressed? I would have said Kieran Jack's missus, but...
I think Albert's missus was pretty bad.
Well, Kieran Jack's mother said Kieran Jack's missus was the worst dressed.
Alex Lloyd.
Yeah, probably Alex Lloyd.
He had to undo his tie to sing. He's that fat.
That fight, he always looks really dodgy in suits.
Oh, his hair just gets worse by the fucking week.
Choose to wear the dress.
He's taking this Natalie thing really seriously.
Actually, on Kieran Jack, do you reckon his parents got tickets? Or did they have to go in the ballot like Chaisa?
Chaisa, if you're sitting next to Kieran Jack's parents, give him a word for us.
Tell them they're great because she's a turnip.
Let's move on to the talking points, and we will segue a little bit from the Brownlow and best dressed. Obviously, Stu Cramery wasn't there because he didn't play any games, but his wedding's on Friday, and none of the Dogs players will be showing up to that. So,
Wait to have no faith in your teammates.
Or he just did not pay any attention to the booking.
Or more likely, his fucking missus did it for him. And...
Well, that's what I mean. She did everything, and he just went, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
He probably got called out because we're used to saying, "Oh yeah, last Saturday in September," then to fucking buy.
Yeah, but he gets paid to be a footballer, and he would have booked this probably before he got banned too. So it's sort of his job to know when his season finishes.
Nah, it's nonsense. That's what fucking player managers are for.
You're gonna let your player manager fucking plan your wedding? Like, we've said it before, some footballers aren't smart. Like, he clearly doesn't know who kicks on what foot.
I'd let Ricky Dixon throw my Bucks party.
Oh shit! You'd probably end up with a few dead strippers at that
Probably
point.
end up in jail for fucking doing it with a minor.
But I said this last night, there are some stupid things players have done over the journey. Like Luke Hodge got into a car drunk, and Didak got into a car with the gunman guy. And him and Heath Shaw crashed a car and thought no one would know. Mitch Robinson got into a punch-on, broke his jaw, and decided to try and tell the club it happened walking into a door or whatever the fuck it is. But these pale in comparison to Cramery booking his own wedding the day before the grand final. It's just...
The real question is, will Sting be performing live at his wedding?
No, not even Sting showing up to this one, nor the Doggies teammates. I'm wondering how many of them will. Like, at what point of potentially playing in the grand final do you show up? You know what I mean? Like, Ling Jong's probably not going to be there. He's an emergency.
That's how Beveridge should do, like, should decide who's in the team or not. Instead of, like, saying you're in the team, he hands out envelopes. If you have a grand final win, you're into the grand final. If you have a wedding invitation,
You're not. That'd be fantastic. Broadcast that on the thing.
I'd imagine all
That's
those
brutal.
second-tier players who played in a VFL grand final but won't be considered for selection. There you go.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to Will Minson, but he's still a chance. But there'll be some of those players.
I assume they'd probably know. On the...
Oh, that's not nice at all. Mitch Wallace is there too. Fucking hell.
that's brutal, but
See,
I like
no
it.
no one even gives a shit about Jack Redpath.
He's better than Tom Boyd, but that's not saying much. And for about the 10th of the pay packet.
But no, this is one of those I can't believe it happened. Like, there's literally a thread on Big Footy where fans say you can't have a wedding on grand final day. And I know it's not the same thing, but grand final eve, it sort of is if you're a footballer.
It's different if you're a footballer, like how Lee Matthews with this whole no sex in January thing.
Yeah.
If you're a footballer, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. And as I think someone actually said this, one of the wives actually said this. Someone posted a quote about it. It was either in the article or on Big Footy, posted a quote that, they time pregnancies around this sort of thing. And Brian Lake, I think his missus was induced just before finals or something one year. All this ridiculous shit that goes into it.
Would any Essendon players show up?
I think Job's still in New York, isn't he?
Are they allowed to? Or would that count as like a... Because there's too many of them in one place?
He's banned too.
I'm pretty sure they're still trained together, like, in some other area away from SNFC, so it should be fine.
Yeah, they're allowed. They've been allowed to train together as long as no coaches showed up. It's basically like an organised running session almost. Remember, Malthouse offered to do it. Instead, he got stuck with the recruit.
He doesn't care as long as it's money in his pocket.
This ranks up there with one of the most stupid football stories I think I've ever heard. Like, I honestly can't believe it. Like, surely as a footballer, he'd be on the grand final week gravy train anyway if he wasn't playing. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably someone who wants probably some function out there that wants a fucking speaker. Hey, this guy won the Bulldogs
goal kicking 1 year.
Essendon's goal kicking. Yeah, like, he's a 3-time club goal kicking winner.
His next job cheat.
Here's a lunch, people pay to come in, just come speak, get a free feed and some beers and pocket some extra cash on the side. Like, that's the other thing. As if you'd get off the grand final week gravy train anyway. I know he's on a lot of money at the Dogs, not Tom Boyd money, but this is one of the most ridiculous stories I've heard.
It's inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate is one way of putting it.
He'll be getting sludged about it a lot.
Like,
just fucking wait till the pre-season inter-club match with Will Minson.
I'm pretty sure
Will won't be there. But
he's leaving at the end of the year. Minson's off contract, and other people get re-signed.
Someone will pick him up for sure. Probably Brisbane.
But yeah, it's just one of those ridiculous things. As I said, he clearly doesn't know who kicks with what foot, because if he wasn't a footballer, this just further goes into it. He signed what was in front of him at Essendon, and he signed the checks for the wedding too.
If he wasn't a footballer, he'd be fucking doing the pizza run for Domino's or something.
He'd be washing dishes at the Feathers Hotel. But yeah, we did mention Jobe Watson before and the Essendon players, and well, the saga is finally over whether he will play on. This ranks as a ridiculous story in another way. Like, this was such a who fucking cares saga that played out. It's just like, either he does or he doesn't, Did we really need to hear it for months on him?
He's so brave.
Oh, well, yeah, he's brave. He's so brave that he's taking up causes as well, like, with his feminism hat. Which, I don't even know, what's that meant to be? Like,
I don't know, he probably got sent the hat by Straffo or something.
Yeah, well, exactly. It reeks like something Straffo would do, where it's just talking it up out of context for no fucking reason, It's just like, you're doing it for the attention. It's very Lumumba-esque.
Does Straffo have a name?
Straffo? It's Jared.
Oh,
no, he has no name.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no name, sorry. Fucking, how'd I... God.
Gee, I bet you don't know what fucking side of the football anyone kicks with.
I missed that. It's been a long time since we called him No Name because he hasn't posted on Big Footy in.
That's probably why he was probably giving Job some helpful social justice warrior tips.
But Job's been full attention whore throughout this whole saga, and it hit its peak this week. Like, he's not the only drug cheat, but you can guarantee next year he's probably
he's the face of the saga. He did that interview. He's got the Brownlow, which he shouldn't have gotten and should have been already stripped. So what the hell are you doing, AFL?
He is the face of it, but you can just see it now. The way this has played out, everyone's fucking sick of it. He's going to get booed again next year.
I fucking hope so.
It's going to happen. People
Like
would
Adam
have been
Goods all over
so
again.
sick of all of this. It's just like, and no one's going to boo fucking
Is that right?
Carlisle except the Essendon supporters, perhaps, or Hibbard, or
Well, here's a conundrum
even
for you.
Heppel.
I mean, the AFL or social media justice types can't claim it as racism if he does get booed. So what are they going to say?
That didn't stop Darcy and
It's
Co.
anti-feminism.
Darcy and Co. fucking cracked the sads over it first time around when he got booed by the West Coast supporters.
This happened before all that too.
He was so brave.
Exactly. Nothing else on Job?
I think maybe he's been hanging out with Lumumba in a different kind of coffee shop. And that's what forced him to wear that hat.
I will say, does anyone find it funny that Cronulla are in the NRL Grand Final?
I completely missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
They
But yeah,
literally
no,
just said, yep, we're guilty, just fuck us.
Give us
No, we've got
3
like 3 matches or something.
Yeah, 3 games at the end of the season. I think they finished bottom anyway.
Yeah.
Now they're in a grand final, and Essendon, well, according to their supporters, are going to win a flag next year, but I think the wake-up call will come.
Nothing's
Yeah.
on for, probably.
Yeah, no, that's quite delicious, actually. This is what happens when you stand by Herd. It's just further evidence he was only in it for himself.
His ego led that whole club astray again and again and again.
Yeah, exactly. Him and his deception has robbed them of so much, and none of them saw through the bullshit. So, it's hard to say.
Carolinas.
Oh, one of them saw through the bullshit. Luke Parker, number 1, had the good foresight to turn his back on that pitiful club.
Yeah, and Reamers as well. Yeah, you're right. But that's only because he's asleep in the meetings. And GWS are probably going to slide next year with Spike McVeigh back at the club. Let's move on to the next one. A couple of list management changes. Not too much has happened. Jack Grimes got delisted at Melbourne, which is a bit surprising.
Delisting your captain.
He hasn't been captain in about 4 years, but a bit surprising. Like, Lyndon Dunn's still there for the time being, isn't he?
Oh, how does that retard
Yeah,
in the game?
You got to feel sorry for Grimes then. Be interesting to see who gives him a lifeline. Probably Brisbane.
His name was Grimy.
Anyone else of note that we noticed got delisted, or any other list management sort of shit?
No.
Nothing of noteworthy, no.
There will probably be a few more come through next week during trade period, and we'll find out whether Boomer gets another club and all the other shit like that.
I know where he's going next year.
Where's he going?
He's going to the Bulldogs next year.
Doggies, really?
Yep.
That'll really ignite the shit fight.
Oh.
How many people are going to tag Sweet Left Foot after that happens?
Does he even still post on Big Footy?
In between looking at churches, I think that's all on that. Let's go to next talking point. So speaking of ending careers, we're talking about signing it, and the recruit was won last week, and it was won by the Ruckman, and he was offered 3 clubs. And briefly discussed this, but did anyone actually see this?
No,
I
watched-
don't really follow it, to be honest.
I've not seen a single episode.
Last
Okay.
year, but I did.
Yeah, so the most interesting thing about this is that 3 clubs bid on him: Collingwood, GWS, and Brisbane. They all have to give their pitch. Who do you want to play? And Collingwood, basically, their pitch was, we're the biggest club in Australia, rah, 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 great facilities, etc., etc. GWS, can't remember what they said, but the Brisbane pitch was great. It came from Peter Schwab, of all people. His pitch was basically, we are so shit that please come play for us. We are shit. You will get a game. Like, it was one of the saddest things, and it's almost like they were begging, in the same process, begging the AFL for a priority picks, subliminally. But that was the gist of it. We are so shit, come play for us, because we need you. We need a state league level player.
Well, it worked, I guess.
Oh, it did. Well, he was also from Brisbane, but I can't wait to see him next year, palming the ball down Motlop's throat.
Brisbane are desperate. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly right. But speaking of desperate, Freo finally have something to put in their trophy cabinet, technically, and some have been celebrating it rather interestingly. Freo waffle grand final Peel Thunder, which pissed Plugger off, if anyone caught that. But yeah, really, like, Peel Thunder were the Freo of the waffle, so it was pretty apt that they joined up together, but it is pretty funny that they win a flag before Freo, and if Freo's women's team win one before Freo, then that would be funny too.
Here's what I know about Peel Thunder. Farron Ray is their greatest ever player.
No, Hayden Ballantyne is. They named a wing after him at the ground. They actually did.
Oh, Chris Manwaring style.
Yeah, and this was back when he was like
Still like the pest and not even a good footballer.
it wasn't really known anywhere else. They named it after him.
Jose, we don't care. Fuck off.
Congratulations to Freo. They won something. They won a North King Island flag. So they're about 30 behind Port.
Yeah, and normally, like, your seconds team winning is a good sign because it means you've got good youth and depth.
Isn't Barlow playing and shit?
But with Fremantle, they've committed to a Ross Lyon rebuild. Like, it's...
Yeah, everyone's talking it up as a good sign for Freo, but yeah, really, there weren't too many youth in there. I think Blakely was the only one, and bloody Yaron, the criminal.
He was like 27 too.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not young. So yeah, false dawn. Speaking of false dawns, Focus on Football have finally bowed out of the race.
No, don't give up.
Inglorious
Don't
run.
give
I
up.
think after the background checks came in on that guy with the moustache, they had to quietly disappear.
He didn't pass the police clearance, working with children check.
Because we do host those kick clinics like every other club.
Are you disappointed?
Look, I was disappointed with them from the very beginning when they didn't just come out and say sack Hardwick. Like, if you're going to run on a platform, like, how do you not beat this board? This board is hopeless.
Well, their supposed
how do you-
in the hold was Neil Baum, but that was already Richmond's.
Yeah, well, exactly, but they should have pushed harder on it. It's just like, this board's fucking hopeless. How do you?
Yeah,
how can't you ask this board?
As soon as it was clear that
steps?
like the Richmond they were even going for Neil Baum, they should have made sack Hardwick a priority.
I should have done it from day one. That would have shook it up because they probably would have gone in, or at least forced the board to act. Which one way or the other, you get the result. But really, this was just toothless. This challenge was even more toothless than the board itself at the moment. And yeah, I'm echo on this because ultimately it's amounted to nothing except like they've literally solidified the board position.
Weren't two of them already up for re-election? Is anything happening on that front?
Yes, because there is at least one challenger to the two up for re-election, and one of them's Peggy, and I imagine she'll probably feel the axe more so than the other one. The challenger guy, there's at least one. He'll probably get on. Hopefully she'll feel the axe, and so will the other one too.
Starburns, there's only one thing to do. You need to run.
Make Richmond great again?
Yes.
I'm going to do that. I have words. I have lots of words.
You have the best words.
I have the best words.
You can
Big lead.
I mean, we can't vote for you, but we'll support you.
I will build a wall to keep Damien Hardwick out.
And the feces in.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, Crooked Peggy needs to go,
She's not Mexican.
No, Crooked Peggy.
She's
fires
crooked.
off all-
She
she's
took
crooked.
money from Wall Street.
Yeah, an AFL house.
She voted for the Iraq War.
Exactly. So need to oust her and
Kick her out of the country.
yeah, Brendan Gale.
We'll need to see his birth certificate.
Yeah, Brendan Gale. I don't think was even born in Richmond. He's been falsely running the club. He's not a Richmond person. He didn't start his career at Richmond. He started it somewhere else, another club in.
Are you going to make the AFL pay for the wall?
No, we're going to make Hardwick pay for it out of his contract. That's how it works.
And then you're going to sack him.
No, we're going to sack him first, then we're going to make him pay for the wall. What else are we going to do? Yeah, no, we're going to make Richmond great again. That's what we're going to make Richmond great again.
Well, you couldn't do any worse of a job than the Footy Focus group, so you're a chance.
Yeah, well, do I have your votes? Can I get you to
Well,
sign
that's the
up?
thing.
And I say
I
I've
will
already
co-sign.
increased our membership
Can't vote
base.
for you because we're not Richmond members.
Well, that's why you need to. You need voter turnout is important. Don't let the crooked
Well, if I
pollsters
can buy a
stop you.
$10 membership,
They're going to rig the vote against
Can't you ask fucking Jades instead or something?
the rich.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
You people need to turn up to the Richmond convention to make sure they don't keep all these establishment people.
The Richmond National Convention.
Richmond National Convention, the RNC.
Does having a Richmond pet membership entitle me to voting rights?
It depends if you got that pet illegally or not. Is it illegal? Is it illegal?
I have a goldfish.
We love our pets, but they have to come in legally.
Exactly.
I don't know where my goldfish came from, but I have one. Probably came from international waters.
Nothing else on the Focus on Football?
All I can say is the more things change at Richmond, the more they stay the same.
That's why we need to make Richmond great again. Vote Trump Burns. Let's go to the questions. Kangaroos Forever wants to know, is Bucks trying to save his job next year with the Pies looking at bringing in Wells, Maine and possibly Del Sano on large contracts? My answer is no, because no one tries to save their job with Chris Maine.
I can't want to say much better than that.
I don't know why this guy's name keeps getting mentioned a lot in trade.
I don't
rate him at all.
Nope, I don't get it either. He's only 28, which did surprise me. But that being said, he's never been any good, except that 1 year where he had freakishly good kicking. So he kicked like 35 goals for the year, and it made his numbers look good. But really, yeah, I don't get it. He's Brisbane caliber, really.
Is he another one for
Oh.
Brisbane?
He's another one for Brisbane. He's Brisbane caliber. You send him to Brisbane, but nowhere else.
But who cares about Chris Main? He can fuck off.
But yeah, do we feel Buckley's trying to save his job?
No, Eddie's trying to sack him covertly.
No, Eddie would never get rid of Bucks.
Well, there is pressure on him. I mean, if they don't make the 8, supposedly he's gone.
No, he's almost said it.
He's probably having an each-way bet into the now and the future of Collingwood.
The thing that I'm amazed by is that he's bringing Nick Sano. Like, does his midfield not already have enough front runners?
Non-tacklers,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like, and Wells doesn't really get on the park much.
No.
So,
If he got on the park a bit this year.
bit late, but then the other thing is Main meant to compensate for Del Sano not tackling, because everyone says Main tackles really nicely. Well, fucking great, but you have to do other things,
Like kicker.
not be a total spud. I don't know why Main's getting linked to places though, Dan. It's a mystery to most football observers who aren't in clubland. You can tell when a player's not rated though when Hawthorn aren't fucking looking at him.
No.
You're not hearing Main to Hawthorn or Main to Sydney or
Explain
Main.
Vickery then.
That's a bit different. You guys obviously think you can reform him and put him in.
I think Hawthorn just likes
a
a challenge sometimes. Let's try and turn this potato into something.
Yeah, it's the last 5 years have been too easy. Let's fucking get.
And you can't develop any key position players yourselves, apart from Roughhead and Buddy. Like, they're your only 2 success stories, really. You had to get all your defenders from other clubs.
That's true.
There's this guy called Ryan Schoenmaker.
Oh, come on. Penal.
See, I thought you were going to just say Sicily, because I might have got away with that. But Ryan Schoenmakers, who's been in the system basically almost as long as Vickery and is worse. He's been at Hawthorn.
Oh, worse.
Yes, worse.
Vickery at least kicked 2 goals a game like a couple years ago.
Vickery does a shitload more than Clanger Makers. He's much better football than Clanger Makers, and he's been playing at Rim.
And he's got better hair.
Anything else on Bucks trying to save his job?
Good luck.
All right. Smeghead asks, who's your favourite big game player from your club, past or present?
Carey.
Favorite big game player? That's an easy. That's easy. Lenny Hayes.
Oh, it has to be Sean Burgoyne.
Josh Kennedy.
Well, I win. You can't go past Trent Cotchin.
Oh, God.
Oh. So we took it seriously, so...
I think Ben Jacobs was still hiding him somewhere.
He polled a few votes in losing games this year, I noticed. He had a
Did he polled in when they got absolutely smashed once.
Might have been West Coast actually earlier.
That was it, probably.
Yeah,
like
but he
38.
had a reasonable year and he
Was it
played
Sydney?
pretty well in the losses. This is the best year he's played since his Brownlow year, I'd say. Like, funnily enough, and it just goes to show how much the shitful game style is that some of our players can have almost career best years, some of our stars, quotation marks, and yet the game style's so... Anyway, make Richmond great again.
You'd think with all this Richmond talk, they'd be playing in a grand final on Saturday. But
They need direction at the top. They
even
need
eased
all the
off
best
on
words.
Talk.
All the best words delivered in a message. They need someone with big hands to lead them.
And that's you, is it?
Yes, that's me.
You got big hands?
Yes.
So you're like Chewbacca.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
What?
Right,
Chewbacca's mini-me or something?
He's an Ewok.
Hoofus wants to know, will you paint red, white, and blue to celebrate the doggies? I think he's talking about the town, but...
It'll be purple for the storm. Purple, blue, white,
Red,
yellow.
white, and goo.
Yeah, that'll be my house.
Actually, since we mentioned it, did anyone see the message report from a Flogcast favourite in Franco Cozzo this week?
Yes.
There's a video.
Oh, yeah, I
Go
saw
doggies.
that, yeah.
Go footer Sky.
Yeah.
Go footer Sky.
He's jumped on the wagon, hasn't he?
Seriously, can we...
How's
can we
those...
kiss-
I've been a Foot Square supporter since 1962.
It's fantastic.
How's
And
the cocaine front of a shop that he's got?
that thread got a bump this week too.
Instead of getting whoever presenting the dogs the cup, if the dogs win, get Franco Cozzo to present
Franco
the cup.
Cozzo to deliver it. Instead of Sutton, not Sutton, who is it? Schultz, the Brownlow medalist. We'll get Franco Cozzo. Just on that subject, is anyone else fucking happy that it's going to be, a true champion and not fucking Luke Darcy, like the Talking Footy dickheads did try and put it last night?
Who is presenting the cups?
Schultz, their Brownlow medalist from like the 60s, and Bedford, who was a Brownlow medalist for the Colas in the 70s. Like, they're actual, genuine stars.
Who's handing out the Norm Smith?
I don't actually know. Usually that's former Norm Smith medalist.
Yeah.
So it's not going to... And generally they don't have a club affiliation. So it could be Cyril.
Could be Luke Hodge.
It's probably going to be Brian Lake, actually.
Judd.
Now that I think about it, he's retired.
That'll be Judd. He's retired in the media.
Yeah, it's true. Probably Judd.
So is Lake.
But yeah, you're right. Franco Cozzo should be just delivering the Premiership Cup. That sounds
he can
about
present the Jock McHale medal. I know that's normally a coach, but we can make an exception just this once.
Let's move on to this week on the Bay. Thread of the week. It's not on the Bay. It's the awkward flirting stories part 2 thread over on general discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, Crow Eater.
I've read it, but I know what it's about.
I'm going to have to delete you off my PS4 contacts, I think.
Do you have Crow Eater on PS4?
I think I do.
Okay.
I've someone who named Crow Eater.
Talk to him, Dan.
No, because I don't want to hear his bloody flirting stories on...
He
it's not the
got found out in the worst way. This is why you don't lie on the internet, people. Jades. Because fair chance someone will fucking find you out and embarrass you in a significant way, and that's what happened to Crow Eater. Just read the thread. It's a brilliant read.
That's all we need to say.
Honourable mentions.
I like Penal and Marlo's threads about danger from the main board.
Lato's thread was the worst of all of those threads, and somehow it made it to about 6 pages before it got locked. The Mercy lock, but geez, it got some bites.
Mine just turned into a standard West Horsham shit fight within about
so did
posts.
his, but he's had some Geelong posters in there too, and that Bulldogs poster had the sympathy melt.
Maybe all the Geelong posters just have me on ignore, and that's why they didn't melt in my thread.
I was plugging this thread to people that are less insufferable than Luke Darcy. That was pretty good.
I was going to say Benoit's thread, reasons why Stu Cramery should hold his wedding on grand final day at the MCG.
Smegheads, it's not a big one, but he's congratulations, Richmond. You now have the longest current grand final drought in the league.
This is why we need to make Richmond great again.
Yeah, and he's got that photo of the Hitler-looking guy in the OP. And any other thread on the main board regarding AFL members and MCC members and people wailing about those people getting access to grand final.
Every fucking year.
This time every year, there's people that just bitch.
Oh, just you wait, though. Like clockwork, there are a couple of threads, and this one always comes up in grand final week, along with the classic sneaking the grand final thread bump, which I always enjoy.
That's all I need.
Yeah. But there's always at fixture time, there's always the Anzac Day one. The Anzac Day one shits me. It's all every year. Should Anzac Day be rotated? And it'll probably happen once Good Friday comes in too. Should Good Friday be rotated? Those sorts of threads, like clockwork. The MCC AFL members one because members get squeezed, and then there's Anzac Day, and there's just rinse repeat. And then someone tries to do conferences in the off season. That always happens. Some dickhead goes, we need conferences, and comes up with some ridiculous system for it. Like clockwork, though. You're right, Dan. Those deserve mention or dishonourable mentions.
Morgs isn't here, but that won't stop me from giving a reach around because I did like the Gillen confirms what we already knew.
That was a pretty good OP.
And pretty good smackdown elsewhere in the thread of someone.
Okay, I think that's all of them. Flog of the week. Who
Jades was working that Liam Pick-and-Fee was like, it was like, he basically just like abused everyone and like was just being a general shithead. Not much more to say.
What the fuck is new?
I think Jades should be the fucking new Richmond president.
No.
Fuck you, man. Do you hate my club that much?
Oh,
we're not Geelong.
At least they would show some fight.
They probably just spend all their money and 900 dollars soon.
They'd show some of the worst fight.
It'd be the sort of
fight like
it'd be the sort of fight that leads you to beat up a 5-year-old kid, but more than what they got now.
He was that Freo person who got a bit melty about the dogs.
Yeah,
Sports Maniac or whatever his name
Maniac. That was going to be my nom, Sports Maniac.
If you haven't seen him, just go look through his post history. Yeah, every post of his is just hating on the dogs for no reason.
Yeah, so he was the other one. I didn't mention him at the time when I did my tiers for all the Dogs fans, but Plugger was one, but this guy's the other one. Just, he must live in Footscray or something. He must know someone. There is way too much hate there. Even Morgs would find this hate irrational, I think.
He must know Chappie's dog supporter who just can't.
He
Dog
posts
supporter must have run over his dog.
Dragon Sports too.
And he's been melting everywhere. I think that cunt's got to win.
Yeah, fair call.
Honourable mention the Smasher, who's going to get flog of the year.
Has he even posted the day this year, though?
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
He said, he has, because he's mentioned us being everyone's grand final for a while.
I want to. Can I
I
mention?
just thought that was a main board thing.
He's going to be my general manager of football, guys.
Can I mention a Twitter user?
You don't want
Straffo for
Jays
blocking
running
you.
the club, but you're happy to have Smasher on board.
Well, because I run the club, so at least I can fire him. But he's going to motivate them by telling them that we're everyone's
He's
grand
going to get the
final,
shit kicked out of him.
so that they're going to play like every game's a grand final. Like, how can you lose with that?
Yeah,
in
it doesn't
theory,
get motivating very often if it's going to get spoken every week.
Well, it is, because we're everyone's grand final. The players need to know this.
Oh, so that's
Everyone's
all you
gonna-
need to fix Richmond. It's just a motivational speech that's said.
Well,
every
the players obviously don't know that we're everyone's grand final. So
But if you told them
you know,
that
if you told them that, they might actually treat it like it. Yeah, and
okay.
I'm glad none of these lapses.
I'm glad we've been able to figure this out, and we can now fix Richmond again.
Yes, we're going to make Richmond great
Awesome.
again.
Great.
Yeah,
I should
okay.
do this. You can step aside. I'll fix Richmond.
No. I have the best words and the best voice.
Right. Me.
You're an illegal. You can't. I don't think you even have a Richmond birth certificate.
Oh yeah, he's this sports maniac guy.
Dan's probably the Zodiac killer.
And he's melting over the umpiring in the 2015 prelim. He just finds
Wait, 2015? Which 2015 prelim? There weren't even a close one.
Yeah, us. But apparently because we're Hawthorn and free kick Hawthorn and that just proves that it was rigged.
God.
Those stupid biased Victorians. It's fucking no.
Oh, that's right. He's a Freo flog.
No,
Yeah.
he says he lives in Victoria, but I bet he's from WA initially. So he's just got that stupid WA victim mentality.
Like, seriously, when you mention that, he's just like Boy Dogs, because for a second there I forgot he's even a Freo supporter, because all I've seen him post about in the last week is the dogs. So, almost like he's a closet Bulldog, the same way Boy Dogs is a closet North fan. It's just, I forgot about that completely. But he has to win, I think.
He's awful.
Cookie?
Yeah, I'll nominate Twitter user Strapper. He blocked me on Twitter. I just wanted to know if he was a massive cock.
He blocks everyone.
Yeah, okay, mate, you're done.
Yeah, pretty much. You're in the club now.
You've joined some of us who only got blocked for liking a tweet from Moffra's penis. But I think Sports Maniac wins, and Crow Eater deserves a dishonourable mention, though, for all the reasons that you should all read why in that thread. Started about page 16, I think it is, and just read through. It's glorious takedown of us, and all the quotes of the shit he said in the past. This is fantastic. All that leaves is the grand final. So what we're going to do is, in the previews, it's a bit different to most weeks. I want to know from everyone. I want a winner with the margin. I want a Norm Smith medalist, a Leon Davis medalist for worst on ground, and maybe just something extra to go with if you can come up with anything. Yeah. Who wants to go?
Let's see. Sydney by 2 points. Best on ground will be Daniel Hanbury. Worst on ground. Is that his first name? Daniel Hanbury?
I think it's just Dan.
Dan. Sorry. I
Just
knew
like
that
you.
sort of sounded odd. Worst on ground, Jack McRae.
I'm gonna go.
Someone will bugger up the national anthem.
I'm gonna go Sydney by 30 points. Norm Smith medalist will be Josh Kennedy. Leon Davis medalist Zane Cordy if he plays.
That's a fairly safe bet, to be honest.
I'll go for 3 then. Worst on ground, Zane Cordy. Second worst on ground, Dane Rampy. Third worst on ground, I'm thinking Clay Smith. Bold prediction, grand final sprint, hat-trick Dangerfield will tear his hammy.
Oh, that's it. No, don't say that. That's shit.
Is he going in the sprint, really?
I'm assuming so. Either way, someone's going to get injured in the sprint.
Geelong are going to win the
thought they were
sprint because
sending
they've got
Reece
every fast.
Stanley.
Yeah, Reece Stanley. That's why they recruited him, isn't it?
Actually, I thought they were sending Sam Menegola.
Or Murdoch, or Geelong basically recruit every cunt who can win the sprint.
Majak,
that all the fast players are
Majak
at
to go
Geelong.
back to back.
It's funny because their slowest player is probably Motlop now.
He's probably still faster than Hawkins.
And
No
Mitch
one's ever seen
Park,
Hawkins run.
Yeah, Hawkins running is a myth. Kind of like a UFO sighting.
He just ambles. Can you imagine
Listen,
fucking Hawkins and Motlop in a training drill doing chasing and tackling. Two fat guys, 15 metres apart, running the same speed. After 100 metres, they're just going to be like, time out. Need Maccas.
Who's next?
Alright, I'll go next. Winner, Sydney by 22. I feel like the pressure will get to the Dogs a bit and will struggle slightly. Norm Smith, I'll go Tom Mitchell.
Oh, not bad for him to win a Norm in his last game for Sydney.
That's a fair call, actually. Leon Davis, the package, and random event. Caleb Daniel gets lifted sometime in the second quarter.
What, liver style?
Yes.
I'm tipping the Bulldogs, just because they've got a good streak going, and it's the year of the underdog. So they'll win, I think, 9 points. Norm Smith, Liam Picken.
Oh, you fucking stole mine.
Oh, unlucky. Leon Davis. Might have stolen your Leon too, because I've actually gone for a tie between clumsy Kurt Tippett, who, let's face it, is just a shit truck, and Kieran Jack, who won't be able to perform knowing that his parents don't approve of his girlfriend's dress. Bonus prediction that Vance Joy won't make it to perform pre-game because he'll be so heavily intoxicated from performing at another function.
What do we get if we actually correctly tip all these predictions? Like if one of us gets it right.
Opposition on Richmond's board when 5 goes over.
Yeah, you can have a position on my board as long as your birth certificate.
That's not really incentive. I don't want to be on your board.
You don't like power?
Can we get a badge?
Yeah, but Zoran probably feels like he has power when he cleans the toilets at a train station. But it's not a position of power now, is it?
Just because we dump shit at our club doesn't make it a toilet, you cunt. Alright, Penal's nicked a couple of my answers here. So I'm going to go the Dogs by 12 points. That bye is going to be huge. The runaway train's going to be hard to stop, and they're going to win by 12 points, rolling through everybody, through finals, and someone's going to blame the bye, basically, for the Dogs winning the flag. Literally.
Oh, they're going to blame Brent Scott.
North's fault for the Dogs won the flag, but yeah, they're playing the sort of football now. Momentum's huge, and fucking stop them, really, because the Swans didn't get a proper prelim hit out. They're not match hardened.
Yeah, whoever has the easier prelim usually
often loses. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And my Norm Smith is Liam Picken as well. I think in a tight game that's going to be scrappy and contested and hard, and he's played a great final series. He'll win the Ayres medal by the time it's all over, but he'll win the Norm Smith, and Kurt Tippett's my Leon Davis pick. You get...
Oh, real fucking original
fuck
there, mate.
You prick. I said this before we started, you Karen, and you've gone and... You were always going to give it to Kieran Jack. You just decided to throw the tie in to throw me. Yeah, no, Kurt Tippett, you got to favour forwards on a day like this. It's usually the small forwards that go missing on grand final day, but occasionally someone does a Jack Darling.
What if it rains? And
well, it's purely subjective. So if it's...
No, Kurt Tippett is a 2-metre man mountain who plays with the physical presence of a small forward.
If it rains, it's a purely subjective call. So you just got to assess whether the rain makes an impact and makes the tall shit, or whether they were just pure shit anyway. Like
Cordy.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are a lot of Spudley tools in here. No one's even mentioned Tom Boyd, and. Stringer got mentioned for Chaisa. Like these are the sorts of players that win the Leon, but neither team really has a notable small forward in the past, like a Ballantyne or a Rioli, that people will go, that player was clearly shit. Your name plays a role in the Leon, and fair enough too. And my bold prediction is that no listed Bulldogs will turn up to Cramery's wedding, but at least Joe Watson will be there with his feminism hat.
Imagine Zane Cordy wins the Norm Smith. I can't get my head around it.
Imagine if the
Bulldogs...
Bulldogs...
He's so bad, he's playing in a grand final.
Well,
if the Bulldogs do salute, will this premiership carry more weight than any premiership that's been won in, say, the last 20 years?
No.
I don't know. You should start a thread on the main board about that topic.
Definitely worth more than any flag that's been won in the last 4 years.
All right.
Because those ones were lucky.
Not since 2010.
Oh, look who's here.
Oh, Morgan. You
Morgs
decided to
showed
join
up
us
for
for
the
the
very
last
last
2
very-
minutes of the vlogcast.
Just to give us a bit of...
Just for my prediction.
Just for your prediction. So, alright, hand us your predictions on a platter.
Okay, Swans by 42.
Fuck you for predicting a shit grand final with a blowout margin.
My Norm Smith.
Yeah, we're sick of those.
My Norm.
I wasn't, but apparently everyone else is.
My Norm Smith medalist will be Josh Kennedy. My Leon Davis will go to Jake Stringer.
What?
You just stealing Chaisa's vote.
Oh, I wasn't even here. I didn't know what he said. And what else do I have to
This is why we should have only had one Morgan.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
I thought this was a no Morgan zone.
No Morgan's podcast. The other one, just anything extra. Just an extra prediction. We've had grand final sprint. We've had weddings. We've had...
Surely whoever wins the grand final sprint gets picked up by July.
Majak, he just re-signed me.
Yeah, you just did.
Is there anything else you would like to hit us with, Morgs, just before we wind down?
Oh.
Anything about Cramry's wedding? Anything about the Bulgoo?
Oh.
My
I've had
campaign
enough.
to be president of Richmond?
I've had enough of the Bulgoo. Please go away. I'm sick of them. This is all I have to say now.
It's bad now.
Yeah, it's about to get
Until they
worse. So, this is all I have to say. I'm devoid of all... They've sucked me dry, these fucking Bulldogs.
Can I add a last-minute nomination for Thread on the Week?
Sure.
It's a thread on the main board where it's called Brownlow A-grade winners, and he's tried to make the argument of how many? The last 20, 30-odd, including the ties, probably 30 Brownlow medalists. Only 10 of them have been legitimate A-graders. And so he said...
Did he say this was one?
Here are all the Brownlow A-grade winners. Gavin Wanganeen, Greg Williams, James Hurd, Michael Voss, Robert Harvey, Simon Black, Mark Rasciuto, Nathan Buckley, Adam Goods, Chris Judd, Gary Ablett Jr., and that's it.
Yeah. So, Dane Swan, Jimmy Bartel, Adam Goods, Ben Cousins, not
Goods is there.
A-graders. Ackermanis, Crawford.
Well, Dangerfield and Fife, probably the main troll bait there. Basically, I think it's a thread that's going to troll a lot of Geelong supporters.
Yeah, well, it was pessimistic, so...
He missed the boat, though. It's just he should have
Done it last
He should
night.
have
in the
bolted
wave.
Pritis.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, bolted Pritis.
Pritis is an A-grader. The last two guys,
But yeah, no. So nothing else, Morgs, on any of the news of the week.
No. I genuinely feel broken. I hate the grand final. I hate this week. Everything about it sucks. Bring on the draft and huge luggage getting picked
And
up.
Chris Mayne.
Oh no, Chris Mayne.
Actually, let's ask Morgs the question that K4E asked. Do you believe that by looking at Chris Mayne, that Bucks is going to save his job in the way they're chasing Chris Mayne and Daniel Wells and Nicky Bell?
All just stinks of crazy bossy at Brisbane to me. This is what it is. This is the clutch straws and the topping and the Matt Wyatt, Brent Staker, Brendan Favola.
Except in this case, Chris Mayne's the only one of those. Like the others, sort of can play football.
Del
Santo is
so
done. Del Santo is so done. I've watched him be pathetic all year. Like, no.
Wells is the only one that I can say, yep.
If you can get Wells to play regularly on the park, then he can contribute, but the others are probably finished.
Although giving Wells 3 years seems like a lot.
It is.
It's way too much.
It's
600k
bonkers
as well.
But we do have to pay somebody because we've just lost Cloak and we've lost Swan early. So we've got to pay somebody money. But
So, let's throw it at Chris Mayne.
we've got to throw it somewhere because we have to pay a percentage of the cap.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
You know you can pay 95% and then pay overs the next year. I think the Dogs are doing that now.
Yeah, but I doubt that we'd be even at that. If you take out what we would have allocated for Travis Cloak, Dane Swan, and we would have still allocated money this year to Dane Beams, it's got to go.
Trelaw's come in since then, though.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you then just make a play for a big fish?
Because we can't land big fish.
I guess you have no draft picks left.
If there's nothing else to add, this was the vlogcast for the grand final edition. Starburns joined by Cookie. We lost Cookie. Man.
Cookie.
Happy birthday, Cookie.
Happy birthday, Cookie.
Is it Cookson's
That's the way
birthday,
the
is it?
cookie crumbled.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Happy
Ooh.
birthday to
Happy
Cookie.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cookson. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray.
If you run on my Richmond ticket, Morgs can sing Happy Birthday, Mr. President, to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Mine sounded sexier.
Dan,
See ya. Ta-ta. Cheerio. Hope the Bulldogs win the grand final.
for her brief cameo appearance, Morgs.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white. Seriously, I've got no bandwagons left. Please, Sydney, don't...
Well, you've got North, judging by your avatar on here.
Oh, yeah. North.
Is Morgs the DVB of 2016?
I am. I've killed everything. I killed the streak. I've killed everyone.
Penal,
What, it's his birthday too? Come on, penal.
Oh no! Ever since Teach stopped rocking up, no one's been singing to me. I'm a bit jealous, and I do hope the Teach is all right and not face down in a ditch somewhere.
or a puddle of his own vomit.
He's not face down in a ditch and he ain't face down in a bitch either.
Brilliant. And for his very first appearance from the Colas, we have Chaisa.
See ya.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week when we have a new champion. Bathwater or cola? Better get ready to drink, people.
Oh dear.
Sick already. Cola. I love cola. Yummy,
Cheer,
yummy.
cheer the red and the shite.